And welcome everybody, welcome at the University of the Underground final show for the research program, If I Can Dance, I Don't Want to Be a Part of Your Revolution. So this is going to be prepared, you know, get the food ready on the table because you're on for 4 hours of incredible content and just mind-blowing, projects. So you're going to meet the 12 researchers that took part in this online adventure. Unfortunately for them, they started their program end of March, no, beginning of April, in the midst of the corona crisis. So we had to move the entire program online. The plan was initially to go in Tbilisi in Georgia to actually live in the basement of a nightclub called Bassiani and to develop all the project from there. But then eventually the plan kind of got changed. And then these 12 researchers that you're going to meet are going to share with you their investigation, which range from, trying to figure out ways to develop queer conversations through, old characters from Tbilisi to talking about the decentralized internet with ghosts and pirates to killing words in an attempt to decolonize the language as we know it, to twiggly udon and touchy move, to climate change wars and escapism in jail, to dancing in the field, for a farming revolution or peace plan between Israel and Palestine. All of these projects are going to be introduced to you and presented to you by all of them. You can follow as well some of their projects online by downloading the catalog, where you can see a bit more detail about their research question, investigation, and some images of their project. But all the content you're going to see here online is going to premiere on this platform. And we are extremely, extremely delighted and honored to share it with you all. They were all tasked to think about the role of dance as we know it in society, but also how dance can play a role in developing new form of politics, how and the connection between ballerinas or dancing boxer and vice versa, and how politicians can learn from dancer. And they all have been developing projects in collaboration with institutions, with experts in their respective countries, of course, because of the whole corona situation. Yes, it's my greatest pleasure to introduce you to our first researcher. Her name is Evie Meltos. Evie is actually an artist who is currently based in Bergen in Norway, and most of her work navigates in or touches the field of performance art. And so in her practice, she's been examining environment and occurrence, and she makes work in relation to them. So her work has been expanding time and space. I guess she couldn't expand time and space more than by being in the World Wide Web today. But you will see that the work that she's presenting to you is basically about the role of udon in allowing us to talk about revolution as we know it. With that in mind, I also want to say a massive thank you to all of them for committing to their project, committing to this platform, committing to just staying and supporting each other through the difficult time that I've been these 3 months. I also want to say a massive thank you to all of the teaching team, all of the associate lecturers that have joined through this program, all of the nightlife artists, freelancers that propose to share their knowledge and their research with them and teaching them classes through the past 3 months. I also want to say a massive thank you to, everyone that has been joining us, all the visiting participants that have been joining as well, and joining some of the classes. And I'm going to stop here and let them take the floor. And yes, thank you to all of you for being a part of the University of the Underground and joining us for the past 3 months. And I hope to meet you face to face very soon. And meanwhile, I can enjoy looking at your 2D faces as we're gonna go live on YouTube. And over to you, Evie Mentos.
Thank you, Nelly. Yes, hi, I'm Evie. And I have made a video essay as an outcome of my research, changing quite a lot on the way on the very topic of the concentration point of the work, but working quite site-specific or environment-specific due to the current times. Zoom and video calls have become the environment where I work for this past 3 months. And that is a big part of the video essay. Another thing that I have been experimenting with the work is that I have made these one-on-one calls, video calls, that are the fragments that you will see in the video essay. But it perhaps looks like it would have been a group call. Let's see the video.
Let's make udon. We made udon, but
Hey, Evie, do you want to say something? Or should I go next?
We can go next.
Okay. I'll be right there with you.
We can go next.
Okay. I'll be right there with you. Okay, so my name is Gaspar, and I'm going to tell you a bit about this research, which is, directly going towards a game. And for now, I would make you an introduction of the whole universe I'm talking about. And you can get into the imagery of this whole universe by the video, which I'm gonna press play. I hope you're all listening to me. I cannot check right now if it's really there. So this is an investigation on how parrots deal with ghosts. You have water, but air, the sea and the sky, ocean and the cloud. The ship, the aircraft, the letter in the bottle, the email, the instant messaging, somatic or contradigital, orality or written code, storytelling or database and forums, specula against granular, white page and the black quantum, treasure and freedom, gold, but no gold, no oil, just data. The Holy Grail has become the black rings. The last months have seen a recent realization of computational experience, and mass media jargon has finally solidified the clouds into mainstream culture, as well as virtual realities, streams, internets of things, and the things of the internet. When Zoom meetings turn into business standard, the bridges and links of the internet become a surveilled border. Contemporary geography exists as a code behind metal bars, in a duality of access and limits of physical bodies and virtual spaces. Existence is drawn in an ever-intensifying betweens. While walls, gates, and fences are structured in the landscape, power de- and rematerializes in a world. How does one challenge the material conditions of an augmented capitalism? How pirates deal with ghosts is a question on how to fight the enemy when you don't see it, and how not to be seen. How do algorithmic procedures exercise a spectral power as opposed to material and embodied power? While both pirates and ghosts perform liminal materialities, occupying fringes of their respective power systems, they learn from each other at the thresholds of the official trade routes, value systems, networks, and knowledge structures. Existing under the render challenges the unstable and questionable nature of subjective roles, the possibilities of being a ghost and a pirate. It investigates the immaterial essentials for contra-narratives and the devices that interrogate. The ghostly offset of what serves as reality is a system of knowledge relying on innumerous sets of phantoms. Those exist not on the machine as once thought, but on the ontology of decentralized computation and semiotic-driven experience of consuming and producing under semio-capitalism. In this adventure, collecting the relics is not an inquiry, but a learning process. While we learn to pierce the heavy fog, to navigate an augmented space made precarious, we learn to live together. It is a matter of social spatial justice, border, and edgeness, the end of ownership and the goal of commons. One must know their phantoms to find their commons. The deep time of contra and counterculture can be found interweaved in the nowness of cancelled futures. I quote Mark Fisher here. The tiniest event can tear a hole in the gray curtain of reaction, which has marked the horizons of possibility under capitalist realism. From a situation in which nothing can happen, suddenly anything is possible. Hey, I just realized that probably you heard me twice. I'm the one hosting this stream, so I got some problems with microphones. Too many microphones on. Yeah, we can talk more about it. It's a game that it's under development or actually on a sketch. So if you see this and you're willing to engage, I'm looking forward to working with people. And yeah, reach out. You can find my contact somewhere.
Thank you very much, Gaspar. Yes, we had some issues with your microphone, but I guess we got the point. Everybody, if you want to be in touch with Gaspar and join into his adventure, please do so. Gaspar, do you want to do a Q&A, or how are we going to figure this out? Because I guess, yeah, every time you speak, we hear you double. Thank you very much, Gaspar. Yes, we had some issues with your microphone, but I guess we got the point. Everybody, if you want to be in touch with... Oh dear.
Do you hear yourself? This is
I hear myself as well. That's an interesting one. I guess we break down the internet. We broke down the internet.
Finally.
I think it's fine now.
Okay, whoever wants to step in, we still have a few minutes before the next one.
So shall I introduce, I believe it's Foteme, right? Next. Yes. Okay, so let me introduce you all to Foteme. Foteme is born in Tehran in 1995. She has an experimental approach towards performances and there you go. Towards performances, and she believes in the social function of the theater and the fact that the artist's work situation is inseparable from the environment. I mean, obviously now she had to think about new ways to co-create and dance and develop all of that since the recent COVID situation. So as part of her work as a choreographer, she basically decided to, well, she's going to share it with you. She decided to work on a platform called Miro. That is a platform where you can share basically workflow, but she actually used it as a means to develop a new form of well, choreography and co-creation in times of COVID. So over to you, Foteme, and just to introduce you a bit further, you have a BA degree in directing and acting, and this was all new the past 3 months for you. So you did incredible. Are you here?
Yep. Thank you, Nelly. Hello, all. Actually, we are going to watch a video, and my output is a video which is a documentation of the experience of these 3 recent months. And this is an underdeveloped project, and it will be continued in the future. Hopefully, it would be a live performance, but for now, it's just a video. And I want to share my experience with you, and that would be great if you talk to me, and if you had any comment or something. Thank you. We can watch the video.
güzel. Bence evet.
My dance is my experience of being present. In where I live, we all are living an underground life. Our bodies are trapped by the system every day. In this experience, we all feel the need to make productive change. And productive change needs basic understandings and practices. This is the way this journey started. I am in the street as one of the protesters. I'm thinking about, can we collectively act beneficial? I'm in the studio to work. Can we collectively act and develop our ideas? Is the power structure equal in my little world in this studio? I'm spending time with my close friends. Are we aware of the effects of our actions and reactions? Are we responsible enough for our decisions? Questions motivate me. How we can understand and accept this coexistence that we all are experiencing our whole life and is challenging us every day. How we can collaborate and accept others and shift our perspectives. How we can practice to destroy our ego to realize and find new possibilities. I am just thinking about living together, the tensions of living together and the ways of practicing to live together. In order to design an experience for practicing this collective action, I chose Miro, a digital platform, as my studio to experience. In Miro, you can make boards and invite people to have access to this board. In each event, a topic and set of tools, Miro tools and sometimes video calls, video recorders are used. These tools serve as materials for the construction of a real-time event. Now we are virtually in same place, in Miro, with same and equal tools. When event begins, we start to improvise and share our ideas about same topic. We need to forget our demands and what we want to do. We just need to be aware of the moment, of each other's actions, and realize the critical moment of making decision. Our decisions develop the event. We just need to watch and accept all the unexpected actions at the moment. The first step. I create the board. I invite one of my best friends and share this board with her. She is a performance artist. The event starts. We have a strong common background and the improvisation goes around concepts which we both are struggling with.
It is recording there, but you are frozen. I don't know why.
Yeah.
You're frozen, yes.
But you can see you can hear me? Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
I can hear. Yeah. But your video is frozen, and I don't know why. No, now you are moving.
Yeah.
But again, frozen. What's wrong with it?
The second experience. 1 month ago, I passed a one-day workshop with Dali. She is a performer, visual artist, and visual communicator. The workshop was about making short creative videos. I realized that she is a dancer. I emailed her and asked her to have a talk. She warmly accepted. I talked about my project and she suggested to test the Miro experience. I'm lucky to have this chance. Before calling her, I'm confused and nervous. I don't know her at all, how we are gonna make a relation. But I know that I just need to be there. That's the only thing matter. That's all I have. During the test, I don't understand how time passes. Third experience. Michaela.
כן, יכולה להיכנס. אז אני צריכה שנייה להוציא? לא. כן, כן, אין בעיה, אני יודעת. אנחנו פה עושות איזה משהו, זה בסדר. Shut may you get a chance to meet real Israelis that are not just me. Hi.
We know each other for 3 months. Due to our complicated historical political background, we are deeply eager and passionate to know about each other, to imagine how it could be if we meet in real life, how it could be if political situations just disappear. Our whole improvisation revolves around our main concern, identity.
It's using all of the religious terms, so it says like somebody told, like they're telling me like Shema Israel, which is like our equivalent of Allah Akbar. And so it says like they tell me Shema Israel, and then they say I tell them go to hell, and then like they say Allah Akbar, and we say love already, and it's talking, and then it says like something about Jesus, and he says, well, Jesus was like whack anyway.
For me, this research-based practice, this experience of being together and making decisions, is kind of mapping the political situation. We need to realize and be aware of the tensions of living together. We need to find alternative ways to overcome these tensions, and we need to practice making community, and we need to practice understanding equalness and horizontal communications.
Hey Fatima, nice video. Should we jump into the next one, or should we wait a bit? How do you guys feel?
Yeah, actually, I lost my connection. I didn't understand if it has ended or not, but if it has ended, yeah, we can jump to other one.
Well, we got your video. It was super nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Who's next on the program?
Anjali.
Hey.
Hey Fatima, nice video. Should we jump into the next one, or should we?
So I'm just going to start, if that's okay. So I'm Anjali, I'm a cultural producer, and I facilitate events that span parties, live art, discussion, and workshops. I'm currently curating the late night music program at a club and a theater called The Yard in London, and finishing up an MA in art and politics, which with a focus on party and community organizing. So I'm just gonna talk for about 5 minutes and read something I wrote about clubbing in general, end in this moment to explain my project. And then I'm going to play some music until Anna, who's on after me, is ready. So clubs and parties have always been a site for freedom and expression, temporary escape, and a loosening of inhibitions. But I want to highlight and empower these temporary experiences and moments as offering us something valuable in terms of long-term political organizing, community formation, and social change. There's a sense of urgency with the global crisis that's represented a massive fall in faith in our political institutions. Extreme political polarization, the reduction of personhood to productivity, and continued rigid exclusionary structures around gender, race, class, and more in formal politics, I think it's high time we pay attention to informal modes of collectivism and creativity, and also to what we risk losing when we frame these activities as lacking in value. Our experience of politics happens at the level of the everyday, and it's at this level that we need to question, change, and think about how we want to live together in shared spaces. Club communities are ephemeral and ever-shifting, but this ephemerality is strength, temporary and slippery, but nonetheless resilient. Our contemporary club cultures originated with Black and Brown queer communities for whom a state of emergency was not just this global pandemic, but the state of every day. We need to honor these radical roots and center these voices going forwards. In London alone, nearly half of all nightclubs have closed in the past 10 years, and over half of its LGBTQ+ venues. It's easy to ask why this would matter in light of issues like world poverty, eco-catastrophe, and the civil rights movement. Parties seem relatively low on the list of priorities to tackle. Represented as escapist, hedonistic, and apolitical, we're encouraged to undermine partying as excessive and narcissistic. But in reality, our clubs are fertile grounds for organizing. Capitalism opposes the intimacy that partying can provide us with. Whilst partying is not always the most pressing thing worth fighting for, its representations as inessential are wrapped up in continuing oppressive, gendered, capitalist, and colonial structures. The same perspectives that contribute to a receding welfare state and a criminalizing of society's disenfranchised are the same ones that frame partying as inessential. Partying gives space for people to come together in joy and solidarity. Political philosopher Ajume Wingo makes the point that whilst laughter, interaction, fun, and community might not affect political outcomes directly, they help give people a sense of what they should expect political institutions to deliver. He translates the concept of beware to the joy in living together, a collective sentiment that has the power to affect civil society. Madison Moore, a club theorist, lecturer, and DJ, presents dressing fabulously and partying as a mode of survival and political gesture for marginalized people. Rather than purely hedonism and narcissism, he explores the resourcefulness, deviance, and creativity in pulling looks as a tool for queer, brown, and otherwise marginalized people to use fashion and style to feel human in a world that seeks to erase their existence. Club communities are social infrastructures. They carve out spaces for solidarity, as well as a will to demand safety from society at large. Rather than solely an escape from, it's also a collective return to our society and humanity. On my way back from Hackney Marshes in East London last summer with a local resident raver, he told me that he was raving as a way of taking back Hackney and giving back to his community, suggesting partying was a kind of response to the commodification of leisure and gentrification in the area. Connected to squatting movements, raves are artistic occupations of space and sites for pleasure outside of capital. In a global financial capital like London, stopping one's daily work cycle to party, dance, and listen to music in public without the motive of cultural or capital gain becomes a form of resistance. The point I'm trying to make is that these parties offer something valuable. Attacks on them are part of a much wider movement of political institutions undermining self-organized activity and collective movements. These kind of attacks are known to disproportionately affect marginalized people. For example, in 2005, the Metropolitan Police launched Form 696, which singled out grime music and was used to prohibit events by Black and Asian artists in London, making clear the wider agendas that are wrapped up in the state's policies on partying. I do need to make one thing clear. Going to your favorite club this weekend might not instantly change the world, but paying attention to the relationship between activism, the state, and parties can show us just how wide-reaching resistance might need to be. When we rebuild nightlife back up from scratch after this global crisis, we need to do it with intention. There is no reason why the dance floor cannot be a space for education. If clubbing is social infrastructure, it needs redesigning. With the ongoing Black Lives Matter movement and the global pandemic, we need to unsettle what we know about clubbing. We need to question the inequalities in club communities in further support of collective liberation. If abolition politics can start at home, it can also start in the club. I hope that moving forwards, nightlife communities can continue to lead the way in joyful resistance. Nightlife is a form of politics because not all political formations want to be sovereign. It's also key that we not kid ourselves into thinking we're political radicals just because we're artists. Making art is not an end in itself. It's not enough. We need intention, redistribution, education, and action. So with that in mind, my project is a process of collecting, curating, documenting DIY strategies for community accountability, safety, and harm reduction in nightlife, to amplify the radical voices in our club spaces and distribute tools for putting politics into practice for when nightlife returns in full swing. We need to actively participate in shaping our future, whether that's how we work, play, protest, or party. I urge you too to document, educate, and distribute and amplify the voices of others so that we do not return to the same thing we had before. If not you, who? If not now, when? So now I'm just gonna play a little bit of, well, Gaspar is gonna put on a little bit of club music. So feel free to have a dance or go get a drink and just have some fun and imagine you're in the club until Anna is ready to go on next.
This is the moment that we all can. Are we listening to you? Yes, right? You have wine. You did it pretty well. Green juice.
Lift your head.
I know this shit like lightning. I know it takes some time, but I can fall like origami. Gatsby. I know this shit like lightning. I know it takes some time, but I can fall like origami. Tell them, pull up, can fall like origami. If I ever did you dirty, you deserve it. I am sorry. Don't ask a million questions, ain't got a million answers. You must think that I trust you. I got issue with more trustees. I love both niggas flexing, can't afford to pay attention. I'm giving up free game, but these niggas out here testing. They're testing. I count my blessings, I can't help but to whip. I am the reason for your casket. Tell them, Gatsby. I know this shit like lightning. I know it takes some time, but I can fall like origami. Tell them, Gatsby. I know this shit like lightning. I know it takes some time, but I can fall like origami. You out here trying to trend it. I'd rather be rough flowing. My drip is like a faucet, cause my flows cannot stop flowing. I pray to God for guidance. I found myself in silence. I keep the family close to seeing when it's like my silence. From the AM to the PM, 10,000 hours of seeing bitches blowing out my DMs. I don't answer, but I see him. I'm so icy, I am freezing. I'm conceited with a reason. Seasons. Gatsby. I know this shit like lightning. I know it takes some time, but I Gatsby. I know this shit like lightning. I know it takes some time, but I can't fall like origami. Tell them, Gatsby. I know this shit like lightning.
We have 1 minute before you wanna. That's it, right?
Can I start already? Or the music is on because I... Okay. Just tell me.
I will play your video, right?
No, not yet. I'll tell you.
Okay.
Just be ready. So, thank you so much, Anjali and everyone, for this vibe. Brilliant. Oh, I was a little bit nervous, but now I feel I'm just tired physically, but feel very good emotionally. So now I'll start. Okay, just a minute. So, oops, I'm sorry. So many things open in my... Yeah, and thank you all for watching us and supporting us, because all the 3 months were so intense and meaningful for all of us that we don't even believe that we're at the finish. So who the hell I am? I'm Anna Subeliani from Georgia, Tbilisi, beautiful country, an amazing city, especially for those who love dance. So come to Tbilisi and who are real change makers. I'm a queer activist, human rights defender, journalist, TV host, singer, and some other stuff. But what's the most important now is that I use dance very actively as a tool of political resistance and protest. It happened naturally without any planning. I was one of the organizers and leaders of Rave Revolution. I guess you know that when thousands of people raved in front of Parliament of Tbilisi, we danced together and fought together against inhuman drug policy, against violent regime, and for almost the only one safe space for young people and especially for queer people in Georgia. And this place was Bastiani. And Nelly talked about it a little bit in the beginning. I danced on the memorial for people who fought for Georgia's independence and freedom as we continued their fight, but my dance caused a very traumatic experience for me. Far-right groups supported by government started discredit me by creating a narrative like I was insulting national symbols and values, and I received death threats, rape threats, and threats about my child as well. And I became an object of physical violence too. This all just because of dance and being a queer activist. But despite this negative experience, I'm proud because my dance inspired lots of people and because it opened the dialogue between generations about the issues of women's rights, the rights of expression, dance as a tool of protest, and so on. So, and my project is very much inspired for my personal experience, and that's why I talked so much about it, and my activism. As I told you, I'm a queer activist, and Georgian people are very traditional, and we have beautiful traditions and culture, but the problem is that queer people are excluded from these traditions. To be more specific, the people who are trying to keep the traditions are afraid of losing them. They claim that there's no place for queerness in our culture. But that's not true. And that's why my project is about Kinto. Kinto is an authentic queer character of old Tbilisi, and revealing its exoticism and eroticism in relation to homosexuality allows for a new historical narrative away from the mainstream Georgian belief that homosexuality is not Georgian, but an imported behavior from Western society. And my question is how Kinto and his dance influence today's queer movement in Georgia? And also, does the Kinto dance, which is called Kintauri in Georgian, have ability to become a tool of mediation between traditionalists, conservatives, people who believe that there is no place for homosexuality and queerness in Georgian culture, and queer people and queer movement on the other hand? Kinto is used as a logo for Tbilisi Pride, the most powerful Georgian queer organization, where I work, by the way. You might meet queer people in Kinto dress code on queer nights in the clubs. Queer artists are inspired by this character, and they claim that Kinto became the only link for them to Georgian culture. And this Kintauri, Kinto's dance, is very unique and different from other Georgian dances. I mean, in other dances, men are super masculine and women are super feminine. The gender roles are divided very strictly. But in Kintauri, you look at the performer and see the mix of masculine and feminine movements and expressions, and you see the very androgyn creature. So after researching all this knowledge about Kinto, which are very much scattered in the various sources, after making semiotic analysis of Kinto symbols, including urban folklore and art pieces, which are very much inspired by this culture. After interviewing historians and artists, I revealed the etymology of the word, which says a lot about Kinto's strong connections to a very similar subculture in the Middle East, Bachabazi. And it seems that both of them have in common the concept that a person who we can consider something like drag queen maybe for the time is performing for other people, and this performance is including homosexual, something very sexual experiences. And the roots of Kinto is in Persia, as the previous term, kunde, means in Persian, in Horus dialect in Persian, means giving S. That's something very new for Georgian society. And I also found some descriptions of very authentic movements of Kinto, which are on the edge of losing. So in collaboration with my friends, I created a video as a tool for achieving my goal, which is to open the conversation about this topic widely in my country. And because of my personal experience, again, I'm pretty sure that, and that was the reason why I decided to be myself the performer in this video. I know that this video will become viral and it will start the conversation about this topic. And my goal is to break the walls between the polarized social groups and to help queer people to get their own history and culture back. So now, Gaspar, please help me and play my video, which I sent in the end.
Anna, you're back.
I'm back, just a minute. Yeah, thank you. Please take into consideration that this is still work in progress and it will be way more better in the end, and I will send it to all of you. And I hope that it will be uploaded on our website as well. And I want to talk a little bit about these symbols. So another character is a character from Georgian mythology, something like demon, which we can see as the symbolizing of this far-right groups, homophobic groups who are trying to harm us, queer people. But the ending of the video is positive, and we're trying to actually, this Kinto person is helping this demon to drink water because he's exhausted, and so on and so on. So that was the idea. I wanted it to be a positive for all society. And if I have some extra time, I would like to show you another video, which is not from my project itself. It's not about Kintos, but because I talked a lot about the context and about my personal experience, which is also connected to my project somehow. This video is about my personal experience, and I want to talk a lot about it. Gaspar, are you ready to play another video?
Yes, we're set.
Thank you.
ცეკვით ყველაზე კარგად გამოხატავს საკუთარ თავს. ემოციებს ალბათ ყველაზე ნათლად სწორედ ცეკვით ვაჩვენებ. ხო, ეს არის. ასეთი ბუნებრივი მგონია, რომ არსად არაფერში არ ვარ, როგორც ცეკვაში. წესების დაცვა შემიძლია. წესების დარღვევაც ასწორებს ზოგჯერ. მე ვარ ანა, გოგონა, რომელმაც მემორიალზე იცეკვა. წლის 12 მაისს ვიყავი ათასობით ადამიანთან ერთად თავისუფლებისთვის ვიბრძოდით ცეკვით. როდესაც მონუმენტზე ვიდექი და ცეკვავდი, ძალიან დიდ ძალას ვგრძნობდი. მართლაც თითქოს ძალიან ძლევამოსილი ვიყავი და შემეძლო ამ ბრძოლის გარდატეხა. და ამას ძალიან დიდი ბედნიერების შეგრძნება მოჰქონდა. ჩემი მოძრაობა არავის მაამებელი არ იყო. ალბათ ამიტომ იყო მიუღებელი, გამაღიზიანებელი, ხავხედური. უცხოდ ხვდებოდა თვალს ახალგაზრდა გოგო ბედავს და ამხელა ინსტიტუციებს ან ამდენ ადამიანს ესე უქნევს ხელებს. გიჟი, უზრდელი, ხაჯი, ველური, ტუტუცი, გარყვნილი, ბუზი. ახალგაღუძებულს დამხვდა ჯოჯოხეთი. ჯერ ვირტუალურ სივრცეში ძალიან ბევრი მუქარის მესიჯი, მთელი საინფორმაციო ომი ჩემს წინააღმდეგ. ჩემს სარზე წამოწმას ითხოვდნენ მემორიალიდან ჩამოგდებას და თავის ყმას ქვაზე გაუპატიურებას, უფური გაუპატიურებას. ხალებისგან მუდმივად ეილიან, რომ უკან დავიხოთ. როგორც კი შენ ცდილობ, რომ წინ წაიწიო, რაღაცნაირად არ ღვევ იმ წესრიგს, რომელშიც ყველა კომფორტულად არის. ქაოსს ქმნი და შენ ხარ ამაში დამნაშავე. ხეული და ჩემი მოძრაობა არის ის, რისი კონტროლის უნებაც ასეთი ძლიერია. ვიცეკვე იქ, სადაც გოგოებს არაფერი ესაქმებოდათ. ვის ეკუთვნის ზოგიერთი სივრცე. ხშირ შემთხვევაში ეს სივრცეები ჩვენ არ გვეკუთვნის. ჩვენ უნდა მოვიპოვოთ. უნდა მოვიპოვოთ ბრძოლით, კივილის და ტალახის ფასად. ყველაზე მეტი რამ საკუთარ თავზე სწორედ ცეკვის დროს მაქვს აღმოჩენილი.
me. And it's very symbolic that this program is called If I Can Dance, I Don't Want to Be Part of Your Revolution. And my video is called as well, If I Can Dance, It's Not My Revolution. A little bit different, but actually the same quote for Emma Goldman. So thank you very much. I'm so excited for being part of this program and being part of this new unit. And I hope that I will see you one day in real life. Thank you. Bye.
Should I start? Yeah, you can all hear me, right, Nelly? That's this. All right, so hey everyone, thank you for joining. My name is Michaela Turk. I am a designer, an artist, and a publisher, and I'm speaking to you from Tel Aviv, Jaffa. I'm on my way right now to the Uganda, which is a bar where the first scene of Neu Altland takes place. So I decided to read it to you from there. Just for context, the Uganda is named after the British Uganda program of 1903, in which the Jewish people were offered a portion of British East Africa as a homeland. This plan was devised just 1 year after Alt Neuland was published. The thing I hate most about my job is compressing months of discovery, growth, and new friendships into something which is presentable. But that's essentially what you're here for. So after I read this first scene, which takes place here at the Uganda, let me see if you can see me now. Yeah, kind of see. Yeah, so after I read this first scene, Gaspar will screen segments of my recent adventures into the unknown futures of the Middle East. Can I just get a thumbs up that everyone hears me okay, since it's a bit loud here and dark? Yes, that's a thumbs up. Great. So Neu Altland deconstructs the framework of the Zionist utopian novel, using it as a guide for uncovering the intersecting realities that emerge from this text's central role in Israel's political dramaturgy. The first chapter is almost identical to the one written about Vienna in Alt Neuland in 1902, and the characters' names were translated literally from German to Hebrew. Before I continue, I just wanted to say that during these 3 months, I was fortunate to visit places from my bedroom that I couldn't visit physically even before COVID became a shared reality. From Tehran to Beirut and Ramallah, I'm indebted to the visits and conversations shared with creatives and activists from these nearby places that seem so far away. The future we are all looking for is currently under destruction, but I feel that this process has somehow strengthened a unique network of cultural vacuums, which I hope to see grow beyond this project. This kind of disconnected yet very much existent network is all too familiar in this apocalyptic place, which I call home. So, without further ado, let me get my glasses. You go somewhere where you can see me a bit better. Quieter. Get a full tour. So, sunk in deep melancholy, Avshalom Ha-Aryeh sat at a small squarish table in the courtyard of his bar at the Levinsky Market. It was one of the most authentic Tel Avivian bars, a quiet oasis just off the bustle and traffic of Herzl Street. Ever since moving to the city after art school, he had been coming there, appearing every night at 7:17, punctually. The tired hipster waiter greeted him in loving apathy. He would smile with formality to the equally indifferent girl cashier, to whom he never spoke. On some evenings, it was almost impossible to find a free spot. On such evenings, the Tel Avivian subcultural scene would pour out into the adjacent parking lot. As you can see, that is not the case tonight. People are eating dinner right now. In a Levantine cacophony, so graceful that it almost seemed choreographed. But most evenings, Mr. Ha-Aryeh would sit at his usual table, drink his beer, and check if any new girls happened to show up. Sorry. And when he had finished, this surely never consumed more than an hour, there were chats with friends or simply solitary musings. Once upon a time, there had been lighthearted talk. Now, only dreams were left, for the two closest friends with whom he had usually spent his pleasant evening hours with at this bar had both emigrated to Berlin in search of a brighter future. So it happened that for several months past, Avshalom had been sitting alone at their old table. And now, having worked through all the zines and records, he sat staring straight ahead without seeking out someone to talk to. He felt too tired to make new acquaintances, his gaze instead fixated on the light cloud of smoke that veiled the corners of the courtyard. Someone was laughing close to Avshalom's ear. He opened his eyes with a start. Ben Sira, a young filmmaker with whom he had already made acquaintance on similar evenings, stood before him, laughing heartily. "You must have gone to bed very late last night to be sleepy at this hour." Avshalom was embarrassed. "I wasn't asleep," he replied. "Well, this will be another late night at the Nueva." Ben Sira lounged into the couch beside the record shelves. "Better come with me to the toilets. I've got one last line for you," he whispered. Avshalom cared little for the young hipster, but tolerated his company because Ben Sira had connections with the local music scene and could secure tickets for the most crowded performances. He also figured one line of cocaine definitely couldn't make the situation worse. The two men walked up the cramped metal stairway at the end of the bar, where they were confronted with a treacherous line. Avshalom lended a small nod of solidarity, intended to soothe the gazes that greeted them. Ben Sira, on the other hand, was already fixated on a poster just next to them. "I say, this is curious." "Ah, you check out the posters too," commented Avshalom with an ironic smile. "I check out the posters too," retorted Ben Sira. The poster read, "Wanted, an educated, desperate young man or woman willing to make a last experiment with his or her life," and was signed, N.O. Body. "You are right," said Avshalom. "That is a remarkable poster. An educated, desperate young man or woman. Such a man or woman might be found, of course, but the condition imposed is a very difficult one. One must be desperate indeed to throw away his or her life on a last experiment. Well, Mr. Body seems not to have found him. He has been putting up these posters for some time now. But I should like to know who this Mr. Body is with his queer tastes." It is no one. Hi. אני רק מסיימת שנייה, הקראה של פרפורמנס, בסדר? תודה. It is no one. No one. N-O body. Nobody means no one in English. Ah, yes, I had not thought of English. Know everything, need nothing. But it's time to go if we're not to be late to the Nueva. We must be punctual this evening. The two abandoned the line, which had barely progressed since they arrived, and made their way to the Nueva. Before I continue, I just remembered that I forgot the first segment, just basic information about this book. This is called Neu Altland. It is a libretto written by the New Society for the Decolonization of Palestine. It is translated from the German by Miss M.E. Turk and published in Tel Aviv Yaffa by Goodbye Books. And before we watch the film, I just wanted to start with a quote from the original novel. Wenn ihr wollt, and I hope my German isn't horrible, I practiced for this. Wenn ihr wollt, es ist kein Märchen. If you will it, it isn't a fairy tale. Theodore Herzl, Alt-Neuland, 1902. Now, Meister Gasper, can you please play the first glimpses of Neu Altland all the way from Porto? And I hope you enjoy.
גלי צהל השעה 2, שלום רב, באולפן נועה ארגוב עם החדשות. היועץ לענייני גומות חן, מר פמפם פמפם, התיר הערב לפרסום כי החשוד בליקוק אוזני רבנים רבים בבני ברק הוא רוברט דנירו. יועציו של דנירו, שניהם ארנבים עם לב זהב, מסרו בתגובה כי אינם זוכרים את האירוע וכי אין בידם שום גזר. ראש ממשלת ספרד וגפלצת אישר את החשדות לפיהם נתפס בערב ראש השנה כשידו בתוך צנצנת העוגיות. 2 מתנחלים מהיישוב עלי זהב שבשומרון אכלו פיסת לחם שנמצאה על הרצפה. לטענתם עברו 30 שניות בלבד מרגע נפילתה. המשטרה חוקרת את נסיבות המקרה. התחזית, יופי של מזג אוויר. עד כאן מחדר החדשות של רדיו מיבי ג'יבי.
Anyone there?
Hi, I brought a friend. You can't see us, though.
Hey, I'm a friend.
Thank you for watching. We're going to go get a beer now to continue dancing with you. To buy more time. We can all Guys, for a round of applause.
Yes. So is Elvi here? Elvi Clem, where are you?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead.
I think we can straight play my video because it's about 20 minutes, so it completely fills my time frame. So
Okay.
you can play.
Okay, sure.
I dealt with it by fantasizing about prison, in quotes. So I was obsessed with leaving Amsterdam. So the story I'm creating now, it is a fantasy fiction. It's a story of someone who discovers that they're living in someone else's imagination. And they go on a quest to try and find a way out to escape this imagination. But it's also a dilemma and a paradox, because if you're living in someone else's imagination, it also means that your systems of concepts that drives your actions are based on that imagination. And so in essence, it's a prison without bars. And then how do you escape a prison that doesn't have bars? It's the most impossible prison to escape.
Vrijkomt. Bij een andere gelegenheid wel eens gezegd van ja, ze zijn nogal van de pammetjes. De oxazepam, de diazepam en al die andere antidepressiva en zo. En ze zei van ja, maar yoga is 10 keer beter. Een ander die heeft me ook wel eens verteld van ja, ik ben in ieder geval voor het moment van de les had ik niet meer het gevoel dat ik binnen zat. Nou ja, op dit moment staat het stil. Dat al nu een paar maanden. Want in alle inrichtingen zijn de activiteiten, alle activiteiten zijn stilgezet. Ik krijg ook geen bezoek meer.
Oh.
Ja, nee, het is behoorlijk heftig. Het is, 1,5 meter is leuk verzonnen, maar dat kan er helemaal niet.
Nee, dat kan niet.
Dus de spanningen in de inrichtingen lopen behoorlijk op het moment.
Ja.
Zo af en toe zie je daar wel wat van in de krant, maar niet veel. En in de persconferenties wordt het al helemaal niet genoemd. Nee, en het is gewoon niet waar. Het is gewoon heel simpel. Nee, we mogen een aantal dingen niet en we hebben beperkingen. Maar je houdt namelijk je eigen verantwoordelijkheid. Je mag nog steeds je huis uit. Het is aan jezelf om te bepalen of je klachten hebt. Dus je mag dat nog steeds zelf bepalen. En er is niemand die dat voor jou bepaalt. En dat is wel essentieel in een gevangenis.
Ja.
Er wordt voor jou bepaald wat jouw levensritme is, wanneer je te eten krijgt, waar je heen mag, namelijk nergens.
There is a capitalistic society, there are huge inequalities, and inequality basically or essentially creates or raises crime rates, and then people who are on the peripheries of those societies and they don't feel that they have opportunity to enter the places of that society where they can access different things and they can become different things. Their position is somewhat locked. This process is generally in correlation with having to choose a life that is outside of the norm of that society. And what is outside of the norm of that society would be maybe illegal activity. So there is already a marginalized person entering another world outside of the norm because there isn't anything available. Or there isn't an identification in any other place of that society that he would be able to create through the creative processes of self-formation, because not any other place within the norm of this society would correspond with his experience of being himself. So this person already have been a victim of a violent act, of being pushed to the margins of society. So that is already a traumatic experience, and most probably this person had many traumatic experiences in and throughout an education system, and basically through every interaction the marginalized position shows. And then when that person for whatever reason engages in criminal activity and then they end up in prison, that is already such a complex, compiled multiplicity of traumas that they have. Being in prison, that is a very difficult space. That is an absolutely violent, aggressive space that allows for very little healing, or actually no healing. I would not say that there could be any healing done in a situation when somebody's agency and sovereignty or authority over their own lives and their own selves and their own bodies is taken away. What I understand that you mean about escapism is forming a way of coping. Situation, I don't think really allows for functional and adaptive and constructive ways of coping, of creating constructive ways of escaping this reality, because this reality maybe has been always violent, and if the reality is violent from very early on somebody's life, then they have never had the opportunity to learn or have the opportunity to engage with a trustworthy environment. Once there is no trust in the environment or yourself, the playing becomes increasingly difficult, because for play you need to trust, you need to step into the unknown, and you need to say, okay, I'm going to play with this idea and I don't know what's going to be the next step. I'm going to improvise through this system, through this game. So creative action requires this, that you allow, you don't control it, you allow for a process to unfold in front of your eyes, and then you impact on it, you act and react to ideas approaching you, and you approach them. So it's sort of like almost like a dance, to use this kind of metaphor. But it's very hard to dance if you don't trust who you are dancing with, right? So in terms of how incarceration would show in the body in many different ways, but the main thing that would happen is that the movement and the body loses its vitality, its affective vitality. It becomes less responsive to the environment or hyper responsive to the environment. So again, it loses its elasticity. So the movements of somebody's muscle tension flow, for example, would diminish and become a neutral flow. When you feel that when you look at this person moving, they would be moving almost like in a dream state, that there is no beginning, no end, there is nothing that can really attract them and then make them jump out of their skin out of joy, or jump because they got scared. So what
Toen hebben we onderling een beetje gezegd van ja, dat zal wel door het felle licht komen en weet ik veel. Maar ik denk dat dat uiteindelijk niet het licht of zo geweest is. Ik denk, ja, jouw weerstand gaat natuurlijk een stuk naar beneden, want je komt in een hele stressvolle situatie. Je bent echt opgesloten en je hebt geen regie meer over je eigen leven. Ik denk dat dat echt wel iets is. Ja, dat moet je gewoon. Ja, je hebt dat afgegeven, zeg maar. En andere mensen bepalen wanneer je naar buiten gaat, wanneer je eten krijgt, wanneer je kan bellen of wanneer je contact met de buitenwereld kan opnemen. Dat is best wel heftig eigenlijk. Dat heb ik wel als heel heftig ervaren. Ook vooral geen contact met familie. Ik mocht geen contact hebben met de buitenwereld zonder dat er een tolk van de rechtbank bij was. Ook wel weer heel veel onmacht. Dat is denk ik wel het goede woord. Heel veel onmacht op het moment. Ja, ik was altijd best wel heel erg vrij en overal naartoe en dit en dat. En op een gegeven moment, je zit daar dan, in je cel. Je kunt gewoon echt geen kant op. Ja, je kan gaan luchten, maar onder toezicht van en op een klein pleintje. En ja, je kan nog steeds niet weg. Dat is ook wat jij zei, een hele lange tijd op één plek zijn. Dat vond ik echt heel bizar soms. Als ik me dat in één keer weer realiseerde of besefte, dat ik dacht van, ik zit gewoon echt al 16 maanden op één plek zonder hier weg te komen. Ik moet hier doorheen. En andere kanten op niet zozeer, maar wel echt gewoon meer als normaal. Gewoon, ik heb bijvoorbeeld heel veel nagedacht over hoe het zou zijn als ik weer buiten kom. Mijn leven gewoon weer op de rit krijgen. Een eigen huisje. Een gezin starten. Ergens een keer. Oké, niet op hele korte termijn, maar op langere termijn wel. Ja, hoe zou dat dan zijn? Zou een toekomstige partner mijn situatie accepteren? Want ja, dat is natuurlijk ook een vraag. Dat je denkt van ja, ik leer een nieuwe man kennen. Ik moet wel zeggen dat je 18 maanden in detentie hebt gezeten. Kan ook wel een beetje afschrikken. Dus ik weet niet. Ik heb sinds detentie heb ik wel, een stukje isolatie, hè, wat je zegt. Ik ben heel graag alleen.
En dat je daarvoor niet per se?
Nou, daarvoor hield ik wel van alleen zijn, maar ook heel erg van onder de mensen zijn. Dat heb ik nog steeds hoor. Maar nu heb ik af en toe gewoon echt een paar dagen dat ik denk van zo, als ik nou 3 dagen gewoon helemaal alleen ben, dat zou toch heerlijk zijn. Geen geluiden, geen niks, doen wat je zelf wil op het moment dat je het zelf wil. Dat heb ik wel heel erg. Dus dat is eigenlijk vreemd. Want ik vind dat vreemd in ieder geval. Want in detentie heb je eigenlijk al een beetje geïsoleerd gezeten hè, van de buitenwereld en alles. Maar je hebt wel altijd heel veel geluiden om je heen.
Ja.
Dus je bent alleen, maar je bent eigenlijk ook nooit.
how legal it is you arrived. And so if you had all your papers and everything and you arrive, you get the quote unquote best end of this containment.
Yeah.
If you did not have this, you get the worst end of this containment. And it's basically you're put in a procedure where the system assumes that your value, your importance, your significance, you're non-essential in essence until you prove otherwise.
Yeah.
And this proving has to be done before you arrive. It's a very long process. And so, for instance, when I came to do my auditions at the school, even before, like the year I arrived, you have conditions like within 48 hours of arriving, you have to report to the police. And they call it the alien police. And then when you do finally, when you get your approval to come, then you are never settled because there's all these conditions you have to meet. In essence, like you're in probation. And it's all linked to your papers. So if you fail to do any of them, you are evicted. Because of course, confinement was one of the strategies of colonization. And you are not just confining bodies, you are confining their ways of being, their ways of learning, their ways of engaging, you're confining languages. It was a very deliberate strategy.
Yeah.
Whose outcome was assimilation or so the idea was everything that you are is wrong, including what you speak. And you can only be redeemed if you assimilate to the structure. And then actually it was, in terms of imagination, what it did, it was the opposite. Rather than me going into my imagination, I actually lost connection with it.
Yeah.
And in essence, actually my living was, so this is what I'm actually currently working on, which is which is something also that a Kenyan writer talks about, which is how to free the imagination. Because you might have you've gotten quote unquote physical independence, like say flag independence, but actually we never truly got independence. And you only realize this maybe sometimes when you actually travel or when you go out and you realize you're not treated at all the same. So it was being able first to contextualize all this, and only then could I re-engage the imaginary again. Having realized that it was the first thing that was destroyed.
Bewondering voor die mensen die daar werken. Die kijken ook echt allemaal op hun best. Maar die machtsrelatie maakt het ook heel ingewikkeld om in openheid te kijken wie je nog meer zou kunnen zijn. Dat is dus een vraag die je kwetsbaar maakt. Dat geldt voor ieder. Hè? Je had het over filosofie. Het is niet voor niets dat Kierkegaard angst en vrijheid aan elkaar koppelt. Al wat zou kunnen, is ook een soort blik in de onbestemdheid. En dat kan je van schrikken of dat is heel moeilijk. Dus die machtsrelatie maakt die kwetsbaarheid soms moeilijk. En op een manier in je eigen taxonomie, in je eigen, op een plek waar je je prettig en vertrouwd voelt, vooruitkijken naar jezelf en met jezelf. Dus dat is wat de verbeelding heel kan doen. En als je het wat meer wat meer pedagogisch getinte of psychologisch getinte mensen vragen, dan zeggen ze, ja, het draagt ook heel erg bij aan de persoonsontwikkeling. Je hebt ook iemand te worden. Je hebt ook gewoon vorm te geven aan jezelf. En op het moment dat die identiteitsontwikkeling zwak is, blijf je een speelbal van je eigen impuls of andermans wensen. Dan word je een soort lakai van andermans gedachten voortdurend. Ik ben wel toch van mening dat er veel afstomping ontstaat. Ja. Ik heb laatst weer een hersenwetenschapper gesproken. Zeg ja, hersengezondheid, die term verzond hij overigens ter plekke, maar was wel heel aardig, vond ik zelf. Is een gevolg van betekenisvolle interactie. Dus niet een robot die protocollen naloopt. Het is je moet uitgedaagd worden op een manier dat je niet weet hoe het eindigt. Dus het is daar heel. Die protocollen zijn heel sterk en die maken die dagen machinaal als het ware en repetitief. En die hebben een zeker afstompend effect. En dan is het moeilijk om daarboven te blijven als het ware. Dus dat afstompende is daarin aanwezig als ook dat jongens. Kijk, ze zitten op een plek waar ze niet willen zijn. Maar uiteindelijk wil zo'n jongen daar niet zijn. En een van de dingen waardoor hij daar vandaan vlucht voor velen is, ze noemen het zelf op slaap gaan. Dus heel moe, jongens slapen ook veel. Of blowen, veel drugsgebruik. Dat is een groot ding in alle gevangenissen. Maar je kunt het je ook al voorstellen natuurlijk. Dus al die dingen bij elkaar maken dat de voorwaarden om zelf tot die fantasie te komen moeilijk. Niet onmogelijk. De ene is daar ook sterker in dan de ander. Ik had toevallig gisteren een jongen aan de lijn. Dit is iemand die ons nabij is en die zit in detentie. En ik had hem even aan de lijn. Hij belde na een hele lange tijd. En hij ratelde zo. En ik herken dat van mijn opa, als hij lang alleen heeft gezeten. Dan krijg je gedachten niet op een rij. Mensen zijn helemaal niet zo goed in denken. Hè? Dat denken we van onszelf. Maar het draait maar rondjes. En ik zelf ook niet. Hè? Filosofie is eigenlijk een poging om het denken iets beter te laten gaan. Maar zoveel beter gaat het. Zo goed gaat het als vanzelf niet. En in die omgeving waar niemand weerspraak geeft en relativering. En gaan die gedachten gewoon nog sneller die rondjes draaien. Als al dat bij elkaar opgeteld, denk ik niet dat een omgeving die als vanzelf de voorwaarden schept voor productieve en verrijkende fantasie. Die discipline is gewoon heel dominant. En daar op dat punt is Foucault nog heel actueel. De wens om jongeren te vormen impliceert een panopticum. Weliswaar niet in de letterlijke zin, maar wel de een of andere observator die zegt dat je het goed doet. En je weet je altijd bekeken. Er hangt een beetje vader reuk omheen, hè? Want dat is vaak met mensen die hun verantwoordelijkheid ontlopen. Ja, daar associeer escapisme vaak mee. Dat kan, maar niet noodzakelijkerwijs. Nee, het is prachtig. Dus je vlucht niet ergens vandaan, je gaat gewoon ergens anders heen. Nee, het is prachtig. Dus je vlucht niet ergens
when you say escapism, it's kind of, we can mean two different things underneath it, almost. At least two, but we can mean more by it. But definitely there is this, one can draw this kind of category of like escape from or escape to. Or escape from, or escape from in order to, right?
Yeah,
It's this,
Great. Elvi, do you want to say a few words about the video and especially the parts which was in Dutch? Is she here? Elvi?
Yeah, sorry, my YouTube is behind. Yeah, sorry for the subtitles being unreadable. I didn't know that beforehand. So I hope it was understandable. And my concern, we can go to the next one.
Okay. All right. Well, so here we're gonna get to Merv. Merv, I don't know if I'm doing your introduction or not, or you're going rolling.
I can go.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm from Turkey. I consider myself as a moving body and a strategic designer, I can say, working at the intersection of these two fields. And in my lifetime, I'm very much into body-mind connection and designing a movement-based workshop and giving body therapy sessions as well. And touch is the main subject in my life recently. And at the same time, I'm producing some food products and have founded 2 food brands as well. And this is my other business side, I can say. And for this research, my question is just how can dance allow for empathy in the workforce and create alternative ways of communication? And during this research period, actually, I started to question touch and intimacy. And it was a bit hard during COVID-19, actually. And I tried to connect with people online, started to make some interviews from Eastern and Western doctrines, and some choreographers, anthropologists, some shamanic ritual facilitators, and movement researchers. I even tried to stay eye to eye with a tantrika on Zoom. And I was already working with some companies as well, designing movement-based experiences as a team building activity. I also have some working experiences in corporates for a short while. And yet the social conditioning and the pressure of the title makes the people hesitant in some cases and becomes harder to handle this experience. And also, which made me realize that the intimacy created during these experiments was developed an empathy and played with people's standings in the company. And we were mainly moving together and merely using words with each other. So I thought that this is a great opportunity for me to go deeper on the physical experience as a learning process. So I try to make the experience more structured, go deeper on body awareness, and create a methodology as an intervention to their usual communication methods. It's a really long way and takes years to go into a methodology, obviously. And I got inspired from nature and many movement-based practices for arriving to the body, for understanding the concepts of just being. from a tree, from an animal. And I played with senses and remind people their daily movements, work on the shakes and flows and breathing, touching and meditation, and try to hold the space to trigger people, give their dance away. Now, since it's digitally experimented because of COVID-19, it was impossible for me to go in the buildings. So obviously it's still work in progress. And now I will play a very short video that can give a little feeling about how I'm feeling in this situation and how I decide to go deeper on this experience. So Gaspar, can you play the video for me? I'm talking about power dynamics from the hierarchical order we live in, just being our job titles in the companies. The moment I get back to those days, I get stuck. My breath feels tight. I want to shout it to the world that there are more other things in me. I don't have a problem with doing my job. Let me say that. I will shape my way of doing things a little bit. I really want this. My ass gets flat from sitting all day. My eyes hurt from staring at the screen. As soon as I say this, I seem to remember that a moment comes to my body. And believe me, it's getting hard to avoid doing a handstand. Whenever I move, there's a sweet touch to my pleasure. The sneaky smiles of the people are getting bigger. It's true that I feel like an alien. This is an intervention. This is a safe space for those who want to listen to the twitch inside. It is an opportunity to awaken the senses, to discover your potential. Whatever the hierarchical order is. It's a needed experience to shake and slam without any judgment. A healing process in which you perform the movement in your body. Breathing, touching, drawing the spirit. Who do you think has the power?
Anyone in the room? Who's next?
Shara.
Hi. Yes. So yeah, my name is Kira, and yeah, thank you guys for sharing everything so far and for all your work. Yeah, my research is I've titled it Unraveling the Language of Tourism, but more so I'm focusing on urban spaces and how we inhabit them and how those spaces can affect our movements. It's always been something that I've researched. Yeah, sorry, I can hear my own echo. But yes, so basically for my research brought me to this was over the restrictions due to quarantine. There was a instant change in the cityscape and the energy and the movements and the choreography of the urban space. And unlike anything I had seen before, so yeah, one of the first things that I noticed that was gone was tourism. It was instantly stopped in its tracks. And it's such a vast, all-encompassing institution that has grown exponentially in the past 10 years that I thought it was something fascinating to look into in such a sudden change at the time. Because previous to this, it showed no real signs of ever slowing down despite all the issues and the problematics that we know in terms of the ecological effects and how much it can affect the mental space and people within cities. So I wanted to look into the possibility of understanding further how much it infiltrates into our lives, the entire aspect of tourism, because the assets that tourism works with or that it monetizes don't necessarily belong to it. So it has a grasp into so many different areas of society that it's able to use for its own advantages. So yeah, like the most insidious types of institutions, it's able to kind of worm its way into our lives without us realizing the full extent. So yeah, this is why, like I said at the beginning, it's why I wanted to kind of unravel its grasp. But the more I looked into this, the harder I found it, because tourism, it's been growing for so long and it's almost become a mockery of itself, and people have kind of accepted it, but also fight against it. But it's what I found most interesting was this binary that it's kind of created among people within spaces, specifically urban spaces is what I was looking at, where someone is a tourist 1 minute and then the next minute when they're back home, they're a local, but people are still traveling and switching spaces all the time. And I thought this was something really interesting to focus on. And it really reminded me of Deserto when he talks about walking in the city and how a city is not a single entity, that it's constantly changing, and that it's our power, or the people who have the power to establish and break the traditions and the choreography and the path of the city. It cannot make its own history. So if the city is the basis, this urban space is the basis of that, how can we use this space to recreate it otherwise? And there, yeah, lots of talk about how using a crisis as an opportunity, which I don't necessarily think is an idea, that it is fully formed. But yeah, I wanted to really look into how these spaces can be reorganized. And very much so, my research wanted to focus on words. And I thought about kind of unraveling terminology and digging into the narratives of tourism. But then I realized that so much of tourism is based on talking and explaining and telling stories and creating a narrative already, that I really wanted to try and step away from that. So instead, I went around the city to spaces that are known for their touristification, basically, and tried to find different angles of the city. So the video I created basically is a much more, calming experience than this talk that I'm trying to explain. And yeah, it just kind of is a reflection on the urban space and how we can move through it and what effect we can have on that. So yeah, if you're able to play the video that I only just got to you, Gaspar, that would be amazing.
يلا يلا
Okay, that was the end of the movie, right? Yes. So we are back, everyone, and we are back to introduce you to Tuva Björk. Tuva, you are from Helsinki. I mean, you're born in Helsinki, and you're a filmmaker and an artist whose work often deal with a convention that exists around the representation of nature in today's media coverage. Björk, she's a real Björk, yes. You're wondering yourself, did they go at the University of the Underground Björk? Yes, they did. Here she is, Tuva Björk, the world-renowned, world-renowned filmmaker. And she will graduate with an MFA in film from HDK Valland in 2020. But we're really excited to watch your work. It's called The Real Enemy. And I don't know, Tuva, how are you going to introduce your movie? Are you going to say a few words about it? Yes, great.
Yes, thank you, Nelly. So happy to be part of this course. It's been an honor to meet all these amazing people. I'm gonna have a short introduction, and then I'm gonna show you a teaser for my upcoming film, The Real Enemy. So during this University of the Underground research break, I started working on a hybrid documentary film studying the ways in which the Swedish military acts in front of the climate crisis. And my interest has especially lied on this paradox of trying to fight a problem while being part of the system which causes it in the first place. So how the military plans to step in after the climate collapse, at which point the military itself as an capable institution could be at the risk of collapsing rather than dealing with the root cause of the issue. By doing this, I wish to find ways to make visible the invisible enemy that we are facing, the environmental problems our actions induce. Now, I'm going to show you a teaser for a film which aim is to meditate on this cause-effect way of acting in a situation where the effect is part of the cause. And for this teaser, I have mixed material from a personal archive footage of Jan Danielsson, who is a Swedish nature documentary filmmaker and a climate activist, and my own material. And Casper, please show the teaser.
Nu har vi hört hur mycket arbetsinsatser det krävs, hur mycket skarp tankeförmåga och hur mycket kompetens det behövs för att ta vara på vår förstörda miljö. Och frågan är vilka som ska göra. Nu har vi hört hur mycket arbetsinsatser det krävs, hur mycket skarp tankeförmåga och hur mycket kompetens det behövs för att ta vara på vår förstörda miljö. Och frågan är vilka som ska göra detta. Det går åt mycket folk, det går åt mycket fordon, det går åt mycket resurser, det går åt mycket pengar. Det gäller att försvara oss mot det som hotar både vår hälsa, våra liv, vår frihet, vår ekonomi. Och när det gäller att försvara sig, då är det ju försvaret som har fått den uppgiften av oss väljare. Åt vilket håll är bort? Är det åt det hållet? Eller är det åt det hållet? Eller kanske är det uppåt? Eller ner i backen? Ja, bort, det har vi laborerat mycket med. Men vi vet ju att bort finns egentligen inte. Om jag har tappat min klocka så är den borta, men den finns någon annanstans. När det gäller miljöfarligt avfall från vårt sätt att leva, vårt sätt att använda naturen, så har vi använt det här begreppet bort. Vi har lett bort avfallet i skorstenar uppåt, i tuber utåt eller grävt ner det i marken och trott att det inte finns längre. Men nu börjar vi förstå att så är det inte. Det finns kvar och det verkar på oss fast vi trodde att det var borta. Och nu måste vi tänka om. Nu måste vi ta vara på det vi lämnar efter oss. Och det blir ett arbete som kommer att ta mycket pengar, mycket tid och en hel del tankarbete.
So hello, how are you all? Well, my name is Ian Copelli. I'm a visual artist from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, based in São Paulo. And today I will show my research for the University of the Underground that is about body and language, basically. So I started with this theme of the dance and to think in decolonize the language through the body. So to clarify a little about my work, I invited 10 artists to perform through body movements a word that has caused them trauma. So in order to incorporate non-heteronormative subjectivities and to reinterpret the lack of meaning in some words in the contemporary, the project intends as a restorative ritual to represent and transform words into a lexicon of forms extracted from the movements proposed by the guests. So now I will show a little about the platform that I created. So I created a site called killtheword.org that I will make a little tour for you right now, and then I will show some of the videos. First the videos from the speech of each artist, telling why they choose these words, and after the videos of the performance. So I will share my screen.
Num primeiro momento, porque eu me senti numa obrigação de escolher uma palavra que eu achava que as pessoas não escolheriam, mas quando eu consegui me livrar disso, eu continuei pensando em outras palavras e todas elas passavam pela palavra que eu escolhi. Então, mesmo que a palavra fosse coisas que me oprimem, tipo como eu sou percebida no trabalho e tal, num ambiente de trabalho, no caso, elas perpassam por essa palavra. E daí eu escolhi a palavra mulher. E o que eu acho uma doideira dessa palavra é que basta as pessoas te perceberem como para o que você é valer menos. E daí eu tentei representar isso na minha performance, fazendo um movimento que é como eu me sinto na maior parte do tempo. Eu sempre me sinto muito tensa e eu sinto que eu faço muita força para me mover e eu me movo muito pouco. Então, é uma tensão misturada com paralisação. E daí eu acabei decidindo isso porque por essa palavra, porque é essa sensação que perpassa todos os meus dias. É isso, eu acho. que você acha?
Estética. Essa estética que é nos imposta por essa cultura comercial de se vender arte e não nos permite, em certos momentos, estar aflorando toda a nossa essência como artista. Dentro de trabalhos, dentro de espetáculos, dentro de produções. Então eu quebro essa estética que padroniza o jeito que tem que se fazer arte e não nos permite, de certa forma, às vezes não nos permite a conseguir explorar ainda mais o que a gente consegue fazer quanto artista, quanto ser humano.
Sei, mas eu acho que é uma palavra mais em relação a mim mesmo mas ela é bem óbvia, eu acho até, mas ela permeia várias situações na minha vida que eu trato inclusive em análise, que é quando o elástico arrebenta, assim, micropoder, assim, para mim, aqui não tem isso no dicionário, né, mas controle é algo que eu detesto, assim, detesto. Odeio me sentir controlado.
Sim. O que eu apresento nesse vídeo é um experimento, um método que dissipa a palavra tempo. E aqui eu compreendo o tempo como uma flecha que descreve tudo que acontece no mundo de uma maneira linear. Então todas as coisas têm um passado, um presente e um futuro. E o tempo, sobretudo, como essa ideia que tudo que deva ser compreendido, entendido, tem que passar por essa lógica formal, que é temporal e que também é espacial. No limite, o que eu faço é entender o tempo como essa invenção da modernidade e que, para mim, é interessante pensar nos meus trabalhos. E com isso eu crio um procedimento, que é um procedimento que eu já lidei há algum tempo, que eu faço é pegar alguns gestos de empréstimos e colocá-los lado a lado. E a primeira chave para compreender o trabalho é a importância de não olhar para esse trabalho de uma maneira racional. Então ele não tem uma história para ser contada, por mais que quando eu coloque gesto lado a lado, e talvez seja essa grande cilada do tempo como desenvolvimento, possa parecer que eu esteja contando alguma coisa. Mas o que o trabalho faz, ou o que ele solicita, é a possibilidade de compreendê-lo de diferentes maneiras. E talvez seja a recombinação, a desordem e o incerto que o trabalho solicita seja um mecanismo capaz de violar o tempo como descritor de tudo o que acontece no mundo. E talvez seja esse o gesto capaz de eliminar o tempo e eliminar essa palavra.
I choose the word home to kill because I always have this struggling with myself to understand what it really means to me and find a translation for it in my mind. I don't know where is home. Home is my country where I know the people and everyone is speaking the same language and they understand everything and I know the streets and everything. Or is home my parents' houses where it's safe and I feel supported there? Or is home my own room where I can cry and can laugh and do my work? Or is my home my friends' houses which I have fun and have really good times and I can spend lots of nights there? I don't know. No, I think that maybe home is just a spot where you find peace with yourself and you can be as much comfortable as you can and you are close to your real self. I don't know. That's it.
Quando eu comecei a pensar na performance para matar a palavra padrão, eu me inspirei em movimentos de massa de bala que você tem que esticar e puxar para transformar essa massa. E eu acho que quando a gente lida com um padrão no nível pessoal e que atravessa a gente ao longo da nossa vida inteira, acaba sendo muito sobre isso, de esticar e puxar e tentar de novo e se relacionar com esse conceito e conseguir aos poucos transformar essas expectativas da sociedade na gente, assim, e como isso se traduz na forma como a gente se apresenta, se comporta, se veste. E eu tentei colocar também na roupa, na indumentária, algumas características que eu acho que se relacionam com o consumo, que está muito ligado a essa questão do padrão, que acaba sendo uma engrenagem na indústria. É o que faz todo mundo querer ser e querer ser dentro do padrão, né? Mas também falando sobre essa plasticidade, assim, da persona que a gente assume quando a gente está tentando alcançar essa idealização de si. E aí tem elementos de plástico, sintético, borracha, coisas que não são orgânicas e que me lembram muito características que eu associo com esse conceito de padrão. E tentei me relacionar com essa palavra e matar um pouquinho dentro de mim também. Espero que a gente consiga estabelecer essa relação mais saudável, assim, por dentro e por fora, com esse conceito do padrão.
So this is a few of the artists' deployments, speeches, and I will leave for you see by yourselves on the website. The video is available there. This video that I just showed for you. And now I will make a little tour on the website that I created this kind of universe of utopic universe that the words are created from the bodies, and from the bodies that's, as I said before, done part of this normative fields of these hegemonic heteronormatives. So here I created these kind of sculptures based on the body movements from the performers, and they are on the website as a type of tomes of these dead words, and you can click in one of them, and I will show some of the performers that you can. For example, here I choose the performers from that is a voguer from here, from São Paulo, and he decided, as you said on his speech, to kill the words aesthetic. So I will show a little about his ritual. This is from Julia Franz, an artist from Brazil. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so this is a good preview of the works, and now we are running time, so I left for you. You are all invited to visit the website killtheword.org and see all of the other amazing videos that these great artists sent to me. And I was so happy to work with them because they are artists that I'm following a long time ago, and I'm a big admirer about their work. And yeah, I think they did an excellent job, and I will finish here. Thank you so much, and bye.
So next, after Jan, we have our last presenter of today, our last researcher, and that's going to be Antoine Delaunay-Belleville. Are you here?
I am here, yes, with a strong French accent. Hello, nice to meet you. I have recorded some videos. Last were this morning. It has rained quite a lot, so recording were not possible. I hope you enjoyed it. My sister is reclaiming because of my French accent. So maybe don't hesitate. Those videos will be available on YouTube, and there are room for comments, inspirations. So I'm still, the final result will be in September only. I will start facilitate a workshop about movements, both body movements, and I'm still searching for inspiration for dance movement, but also for political movement. So please don't hesitate to share your references. I'm still working until September on that subject. I guess now we can start broadcasting the video. Gaspar, can you maybe play?
Towards what future the food industries lead us? Asphyxiation, slavery, all three. Do we all have to become peasants again to stop the widespread of living things, or perhaps just survive climate change? Although this prospect may seem illusory, it is nevertheless cherished by many city dwellers in search of meaning, enthusiastic and often ill-prepared. Dance, cultural and bodily movement could provide them with references to think again issues of the agricultural world, like reason, tradition, or gender. I hope you will be interested in exploring the references, testimonies cited in the descriptions of the videos. They have been collected from dancers, farmers, or researchers, and I hope that yourself You will want to support, try, test, challenge them with your project and parties. It's been 3 months now, and I've been collecting and interviewing people. I will keep on doing it until September. Experimenting workshop, dance movement related to the stop. Sometimes alone, sometimes with strangers. Final videos will be recorded in September. And when I'm done with my research, I use those videos to organize a series of online debates and parties in France. Enjoy. Many farms require a phenomenal amount of energy, like very strong constraints on body and the environment. Serfdom, triangular trade, feeding caporalato. With the beginning of the came the possibility of storage. The beginning of inequalities in human society. Because we do not only protect ourselves against difficult future, but also to distinguish ourselves and capitalize not only for ourselves, our descendants. In scale such that at some point we had to invent the right to remember everything some people own. Some people just want more. Some just want everything. Even if that means burning the earth and its inhabitants. So they impose on us clearings, land consolidation, common agricultural policy, agro-trade, deforestation, ethnic cleansing. Those are the consequences of the agricultural policy by those in power who are not feeding people. We would have done far better without intervention. The logic of the state's commercial organization is rather to scrap from those from whom everything had been taken beforehand. Passport, freewill, land, country, dignity. And what justified that? Tasteless strawberries in December, garbages, full of food waste, a few people having Porsches, 20% of humans that can gorge themselves, kill themselves on sugar and fat, a celebration of blind technical progress, the power of rationality of the rest of the world. That is not okay. So, what do we do now? Desserts? Do we keep on listening to music during our fragmented tasks, dancing during the interstices that they left to us, creating parallel societies at night or in the bush, where we recreate stronger codes than those they impose on us? Do we take shelter in the eco-villages for privilege? Dropping ourselves in shallow depths and benevolence. Do we keep on singing in rhythm, churches and cotton fields? When we are dead, we'll be free at last. When we're dead, sometimes we have to survive without the world would become unlivable. If the body don't cry out, it implodes. But we have to escape. The state is expansionist and hegemonic, and it will catch up with you, absorb and commercialize your counterculture. Its companies. They will not tolerate any alternative just like we can do without them. They have never allowed them to be convinced of the benefits of alternative. Even when there were better ways, more sustainable, more pleasant, they made them bite the dust. There is no escape other than guerrilla. So we may not have the weapons to fight, but we can start small. We can drum, we slap upside, we'll poison their cat, we let ourselves die. If they plunder us, we defend ourselves with our flags, legs. And if they want us to dance for them, we laugh in their face. So yes, they are done colonizing the land with their barbed wires, militias, and poisons. We can go like Dambala or Zombie, or Macandal, take shelter in the heart of forest. It's difficult to raise armies like Crazy Horse, Geronimo, but we can cultivate solidarity net like Harriet Tubman. We can take back the land like the MST in Brazil, defend it like in Notre-Dame-des-Landes. In the world we created to rule like a bunch of losers, unbreathable and societal. We have to get up and fight. Otherwise, all is lost.
Escape and gender. Dance is a reflection of your culture, education. It is not an artistic artifact separated from the social role you play, or what you believe in, how you dress, sequence, times you're living. Each of those parameters will carry more or less powerful standards. Agricultural societies, rural characters imply a stronger control due to absence of anonymity, greater weight of tradition. Body vocabulary describes to transcribe assignment belonging of those societies. You shall dance as a bride, a warrior, an Nigerian, Brazilian. Another man, or a commoner. But you shall not dance. Since your role is to grant to the perpetuation of the established music you play, the gossip you tell. The body of others belong to the community. Act together to avoid any deviance. Most behaviors such as being feminine are acquired through education. Audacity, sensuality, anger are linked to culture, not genitals. Even morphology is with culture, depends on the gestures that you have been asked to repeat, or that you allow yourself to the food you receive. It is not possible to dance while being totally free of any kind of cultural shackle, and this is not even desirable. This heritage is engraved in us by the weight of thousands of years of history that we cannot ignore. But we don't have to follow them. We can play with the femininity stereotypes from commercial magazines. No, men are not made to give directions or women to follow. Yes, men can express sensuality as well as women's strength. Let us not allow our gesture seriously validate stereotype, especially if those social or economic impacts that underlie them crushes us. Questioning the assignment of gender movement is certainly insufficient, but it is at least necessary to begin to refuse role assignments in society. Let us not deny our inheritance, our differences of taste, bodies. Let us emphasize them. Let us exacerbate them. Anyone can crump or vogue, decide and follow Move the hips, make head spins, do pas de bourrée or samba in high heels or in dungarees. Let us assert in the middle of a village that the culture is not transmitted by genitals or blood, and that it is legitimate to object, not to remain in the place we were given, especially if that later implies an unequal distribution of task, power, of privilege. Let us play with codes. And let us send conventions off. I am neither farmer nor sociologist nor dancer. My job is to inspire and equip people who want to build fair and sustainable communities. I hope you will want to deepen and complete the references of body and political movement I have further described below for your projects, debates, and parties.
The multiple manifestation of what in the West we call nature, such as weather, animal, plants, have long been considered as subjects with whom we had to deal, since they had their own reasons and own reasons. For almost all of human history, we have danced to ask for favors, forgiveness, or the hope of a conversation with the spiritual avatars of our non-human neighbors. Our movements mimic the undulation of the elements, the posture of the animal. Dance was sacred and a way to get along well with our neighbors, so that they would agree to come and dance with us, so that the sun would rise again, rain would fall, animals would return, plants would grow. Hunters and pickers were at the mercy of nature, and nature was merciful. But tired of obeying the cycles, some men, at some point, decided to become conductors of what they thought were useless harmonies that they had to order to their service under the cover of higher causes such as God, the states, or economic growth, and thought they had the right to put chains on their neighbors, humans or not. Music and dance stopped being part of everyday life and were reduced to some cultural artifacts reserved to a few people, a few moments, often commercial interstices, a valve that were conceded to relieve the excessive pressure of society over people, so that they could express from time to another their wide, free and wide nature. For it is no longer a question of picking or hunting, but obeying, earning one's bread at the sweat of one's face until we die. We have freed ourselves from the constraints of nature only to lock ourselves into those of other humans or concepts. What control do we still have over those new metronomes who came to consume ad libitum the last corners of freedom in the seas, the soil, the mines? Who now decide the pace, now that spring has been silenced? Is it still only possible to choose one reason with all the standards that we have integrated through schools, bank loans, machines to be used? Can we still allow ourselves some time for interiority, slowness, in order to give ourselves time to observe, time to appreciate? And beyond the reason, how can we recover the groove? The groove we lost in the cold pace of industrialization. Dancers, performers, musicians are still looking for the offbeats, the accentuation, the swaying, the flow, the sublime gesture made of imperceptible irregularities, which we have repeated thousands of times at the pace of a dialogue with the musicians, with the land, with our heartbeats, and which, while we're working, while we're dancing, anchors us solidly in the joy of the present moment. How can we find communion instead of the days induced by machines? How can we freely choose user-friendly techniques that will not mortgage our lives and all that surrounds us? Tools that would make our daily lives viable and livable at the service and not at the detriment of beauty, dialogue, freedom, or respect.
Tradition is a perpetual movement. It advances, it changes, it lives. Living traditions can be encountered everywhere. Try to maintain it in the way of your time. This sentence by Jean Cocteau illustrates the evolution of la bourrée, a French dance from the Auvergne countryside. It was first documented by Margot de Valois during the 16th century and was brought back to Paris to make it a court dance that became a ball dance that developed a scholarly form that will be present in theaters, operas, ballet. The dance step pas de bourrée will then be found in swing dances during the 20s, and then in various types of hip-hop. Today, the different geographical forms coexist without ever frequenting, because the environments that adapted them differ greatly. Just like seeds, dance steps germinate and evolve in contemporary soil. One can put them in safes, conservatories, freezers, and there's a jealous care of people who will preserve it from any evolution, hybridization, swarming, and ultimately any life. But the question should not be what the ancestors would have said, but what do the heirs will say if there are any left. The Yoruba culture in Brazil would have perished under the steamroller of slavery if slaves had not cunningly transposed their cults onto Christians' iconographies. Do the guardians of traditions want to pass the torch, keep the fire burning, or worship ashes? Should it be used as a bulwark against aliens to justify a pure lineage, allowing to exclude people who were not born there, who do not meet ancestral and fundamental norms? Is it relevant to freeze a tradition, either in dance or farming? Is it about transmitting ways to enjoy living together, transmit values or beliefs, or is it just aesthetic? Can we separate the dance from the time and the people who gave birth to it? Can you love dancehall without being misogynistic? Can you love hip-hop and glorify gang war? Can you do sacred dance without believing in the divine power of elements? Or be a capoeirist and support Bolsonaro? Below what defenders of tradition of modernity say, what it tells us is the power they want to take from it. Traditions allow a legitimation of an order, a domination presented as eternal, divine, or natural. While modernity claims it's better to start anew, from nothing, because the alternative they want to offer change the power balance to their advantage. I am neither farmer, nor sociologist, nor dancer. My job is to equip people who want to build fair and sustainable communities. I hope you will want to deepen and extend the references of movements, both political and dance, that I further describe in the description. It can be used for your project, for your debates, and of course, for your parties. See you.
Cool. Do you want to wrap this up, Nelly?
We are back. And thank you, everyone. Antoine, do you want to say anything? We are back.
Okay.
We are back. Do you want to finalize anything to do with your video before we move into a group chat?
No, nothing to say except that I'm waiting for your input, and I'm really interested, for instance, in Anna's video about Kinto. I really would like to include the Kinto dance movement in my video.
Amazing. So this is like just the start of a collaboration happening here.
Exactly.
Live on YouTube at the University of the Underground worldwide channel. Well, okay, everyone, I guess that's marking the end of this live streaming. But before we get into the live streaming ending, I guess maybe some of our researchers want to share some thoughts. Michaela calling us from Tel Aviv.
Uh-oh, did I unmute myself? Shit.
You did. Well
It was
done.
not intentional.
Thank you all for, just finishing off these 3 months with, such skills, and we can even meet the family now. The Delaunay Belleville family. Hello. Anyone want to share some thoughts? Any maybe potential new futures that you want to inspire moving forward? Angeli, yes, unmute yourself.
Did you unmute me, Nelly?
Yeah.
Thanks. This was great. Yeah.
I'll play your mix now.
Okay, everyone.
I'll save you.
Thank you, Nelly. We're sending. Oh no, I'm on mute. I said thank you.
Yeah, we hear you. Thank you all.
Okay, shit. We're sending you flowers by mail.
It's been a pleasure to meet you all. I really want to meet you for real. Our basement is your home anytime, and my train carriage as well. You can come here anytime.
Thank you, Gasper, for being the best conductor we could imagine.
Yeah, Gaspar, you're our hero. You're really our hero.
Fucking hero.
Gaspar, legendary. Okay, so we are going to finalize with a mix that has been done by Angeli. Angeli, do you want to say anything about that mix?
No, other than that, it's back from when clubs were still a thing and clubs still existed, so it's definitely got that vibe to it.
Don't give up on hearing our researcher, because they will be back on the radio on Worldwide FM. So you will hear them even more very soon. Okay, over to you, Gaspar.
all that you got now. Make you one quick cause I'm hot now. I'm gone, so faded, come on, one. Bang, bang, pop off like a long gun. You ain't even